Hi Loomers, it's Michelle from Rainbow Loom, and today I'll be showing you a tutorial on how to make the Sentimental Puppy design that I created using the new Rainbow Loom 360 kit. I named the puppy this way because I feel like the eyes look very tender. I would consider this design pretty advanced because there are a lot of overlapping bands and it can be easy to mess up. Because the puppy's head is a little thick, it can also be trickier to add on the individual eyes, so instead of using the pop-in eyes, we will just be using rubber bands today. If you like the look of the pop-in eyes though, you can check out the Eyebrow Puppy tutorial, where the puppy's fluffy eyebrows help the individual eyes stay in place. The link to that tutorial will be in the description. Both of these designs will also use the animal mouth accessory. Anyways, if you enjoy this design, then please leave a like. The materials and band count will be in the description, so check those out if you're interested. Before we get started, please note that I did take some clips from the Eyebrow Puppy tutorial, since the only differences in these two puppy designs are in the face. So the parts where we place the pegs, place down bands for the body, and loom the body will all be taken from the Eyebrow Puppy tutorial. Now, let's get started making our Sentimental Puppy. The first thing you have to do is place down and orient your pegs in the right directions. To save some time, I have all of the pegs laid out here, so just copy what I have on my loom. I will just go over how many pegs each row uses. Also, if the cavities feel tight, you can place a peg on the 45-degree angles instead. Here is a close-up of the head, which covers rows 1 to row 9. Row 1 uses 1 peg, row 2 uses 2 pegs, spaced pretty far apart. Row 3 uses 3 pegs, row 4 uses 2 pegs, row 5 uses 1 peg, row 6 uses 4 pegs, row 7 uses 1 peg, row 8 uses 2 pegs, and row 9 uses 1 peg. Here's a close-up of the body, which covers the rest of the puppy. Row 10 uses 2 pegs, and these are on the far left and far right. Row 11 uses 5 pegs in a row, skip row 12, then row 13 uses 3 pegs in a row, skip 14, and row 15 uses 3 pegs in a row, skip 16, row 17 uses 5 pegs in a row, row 18 uses 2 pegs on the far left and right, row 19 uses 1 peg, then rows 21 and 23 both use 1 peg as well. Again, here is the full loom. Make sure that yours matches mine before moving on. Let's get started laying down our bands. We're first going to make the puppy's eyes. We will use rubber bands for our puppy's eyes, but for the snout, we will use the animal mouth accessory included in your kit. Unfortunately, I am cheating a little bit today, and I am using black premium bands since the 360 freestyle kit does not include the color black. You do not have to use premium bands for the eyes since we are not looming them, so you can use any black rubber bands that you have. Or you can try using a different color. So, take a single black band, place it onto your hook, and twist the band 4 times so that there are 5 loops of the band in total. So this is 1, 2, 3, and 4. Depending on what bands you're using, you could also twist the band 3 times or 5 times so that there are 4 or 6 loops in total. Then take a single band of your dog's fur color, and we will pull the fur colored band through the twisted eye band. I'm twisting the black eye band onto the orange band to make this easier. Then take the loop in your fingers and place it onto the hook. Then we will pull the loop closest to the tip of the hook through the other loop. Pull gently to tighten. Now do this one more time for the other eye. Set the puppy's eyes to the side and we can start placing bands onto our loom. Make sure that you check the description for the total band count. First, take a single band and place it vertically at the top of your loom like so. Now we will start placing double bands, which just means to place 2 bands down at once between the pegs. I'm placing those double bands down vertically. Then double band straight down the middle one more time. Then go back up and place double bands going to the left. Then double bands going down on the left. Let's do the same to the right side. So place double bands going to the right, then double bands going straight down on the right side. Then place double bands going straight down on the left and the right. Now in the center, we will place down triple bands. So instead of 1 or 2 bands, we will place 3 bands down between the pegs here in the center. Then we're going to do something a little unconventional. We will place down some bands and do a bit of looming. Place a single band from the bottom left up to the center. Then take another single band and do the same on the right side. I'm also pushing some bands down really quickly to make room, and I am focusing on pushing down those bands in the center. Now we're going to place down a triple looped band on the center peg. So take a single band, place it on your hook, and twist once, and one more time, so that there are 3 loops of the band. Grab onto the 3 loops and place them on the center peg here. Now we will loom these 2 bands out from the center to the right and left sides. So I'm sticking my hook into the peg, pulling back on the 3 cap band loops, grabbing the next single band down on the peg, and we will bring it back to itself, which should be to the right side. Then we'll do the same to the left. Now we can push down some of these bands again to make room for more. We will add on our puppy's eyes now. We will place the loop of the slip knot onto these pegs, but we will double loop the slip knot. I have our eye band and my hook here, and all we're going to do is place it on the hook and twist once so that there are 2 loops of the band. I'm holding onto those 2 loops with my fingers, and I will place it from the left peg here down to the center. Make sure that the black eye is on the lower part of the double loop band, so you might have to slightly rotate the band around to get it in the right position. Now we will do the same to the right side. So place the eye band onto your hook and twist once so that there are 2 loops of the band. Then place it from here to here on the right. Readjust the position of the eye so that it's in the bottom middle of the double loop band. Let's go back to placing down our bands now. Place a single rubber band going out to the right here. Then take double bands and stretch them from the bottom center to that horizontal band. These 2 bands stretch across 3 pegs. Do the same to the left side. So place on that single horizontal band, then switch to double bands and place them across the 3 pegs from the side down to the center. Let's work on the ears now. They are just a single band, then double bands, and a triple loop cap band. Another way to place on a cap band is to put a single band on the peg and twist the band twice so that there are 3 loops of the band on the peg. Then do the same for the other ear. So place down a single band, then double bands, and lastly a triple loop cap band. Again, I am placing the band on the peg and twisting twice to get 3 loops in total. At the bottom of the head, let's place down triple bands, which is 3 bands below the puppy's head. Again, that is not 1 or 2 bands, but 3 bands. In the next section, we will work on the body. Since the body of both puppies are the same, I used the same clip as the Eyebrow Puppy tutorial. So if the head in the next part looks a little different, that is why. Now we will place bands starting from the neck, going around to the base of the tail. These are mostly double bands, but we do place single bands down towards the end. So take 2 bands and place them from the neck out to the left. Then place 2 sets of double bands down on the left side. Now we will place a single band down on the last vertical pegs on the left side. Then switch back to double bands and place those going to the center. Now we can start again at the neck area and do the same thing to the right side. Place double bands from the neck going to the right. Then place 2 sets of double bands going straight down. Then place a single band down here. And then switch back to double bands and place them going to the center. Let's start working on the legs. For the front paws, take double bands and place them going away from the dog's body. Then place double bands down one more time. On the last peg here, place down a triple loop cap band using a single band. Remember to twist the band twice to get 3 loops. Now I'm doing the same to the right side, starting with 2 sets of double bands. Then place a triple loop cap band on the last peg of the leg. Twist the single band twice to get 3 loops. Onto the hind legs now, and we're using single bands at first. Place a single band horizontally to the left. Then another single band angled up. Switch back to your double bands and place them to the last peg on the hind legs. On the last peg, we will add a triple loop cap band. Remember to twist the band twice so that there are 3 loops in total. Now let's do the other hind leg. Place a single band going horizontally out, then another single band here. Switch back to double bands and extend the leg. Then place on the triple loop cap band on the last peg. Take a minute to push down your bands because we will be adding more bands on top. I know it's a lot. Let's place down 2 double loop tie bands using 2 single bands. Tie bands are used to hold your creation together, and they are not directly loomed with your hook. We will place these tie bands across the dog's body. Take a single band, place it on the back of your hook, and twist once so that there are 2 loops of the band. Insert the back of your hook into the second peg on the body here, and push the 2 loops of the band onto the peg. Pull both loops of the band across to the other side of the puppy's body. Then push it down to make room for more bands. Let's do this one more time right below. Twist a single band once on your hook to get 2 loops. Place that band on the peg below. Then grab both loops of the band and stretch it across the dog's body. Now we will place double bands going straight down to the tail, starting from the neck of our puppy. So just place double bands going down in the center. This is the second set of double bands. Third set. Fourth. Fifth. And the last set of double bands. On the last peg here, we will place a quadruple looped cap band. So I'm placing a band on the last peg, then twisting once, twice, and 3 times to get 4 loops of the band in total. This will make your tail look more pointy, and this is what the quadruple looped cap band looks like from the side. The very last band we will place on is another tie band. Take a single band and place it across these 3 pegs here. These 3 pegs here now hold 2 tie bands. Remember that tie bands are not directly loomed with our hook, so we will be ignoring them while looming our puppy. We have now finished placing down all of our bands. Before we start looming, let's push down these bands to make more room on the pegs and to isolate groups of bands so that they're easier to grab with our hooks later on. I have my hook here, and we're going to start looming the legs on the puppy first. We will just be bringing the bands back to themselves for all of the bands that we are looming. Stick your hook into the peg, pull back on the 3 loops of the cap band, grab the double bands at the bottom, and bring them back to themselves. Reach into this next peg and grab the topmost unloomed single band, which should be the angled one, and bring that back to itself. Then loom the remaining single band on the peg back to itself. We will do the same to the other leg. Reach into the peg with the cap band, pull back on the triple loop band, grab the bottom 2 bands, and bring them back to their other halves. Reach into the next peg, grab the single band after the double bands we just loomed, which should be the angled band, and bring it back to itself. Then, reach into the same peg and loom the remaining single band. Let's loom the front paws next. I'm rotating my loom to make this easier. Reach into the peg with the cap band and loom the double bands forward. Then reach into the next peg and loom the double bands back to themselves. We will do the same to the other paw. I'm rotating my loom again to make this easier. Loom the double bands back to themselves. Then on the next peg here, loom the second set of double bands. Now we will loom the ears. Reach into the peg with the cap band, pull back on the cap band, then loom the double bands back to themselves. Reach your hook into the next peg and loom the single band back to its other half. Now let's do the other ear. Reach into the peg with the cap band, then loom the double bands. Reach into the next peg and loom the single band. Return your loom to its original orientation, and we will loom the double bands on the tail and back of our puppy until we get to the neck. Reach into the peg with the cap band and loom the double bands forward. If it's too tricky to loom both bands at once, you can also loom one of the double bands at a time. Once you reach the body, just continue looming this line of double bands. Remember to use your tug tool to push down the bands if needed, and make sure that you're only looming the double bands on each peg and nothing else. Remember on these 3 pegs that we have 2 tie bands. You're going to pull back on the tie band at the top and just continue looming the double bands on this peg. Make sure that you are not accidentally looming the tie bands. This is the last set of double bands that we are looming on this side. Let's loom the sides of the body starting at the base of the tail to the neck. We will do the right side first, and then loom the left side. Stick your hook into the peg where our tail starts and loom the 3rd and 4th bands from the bottom over to the right side. Then this band here is a single band, so you only need to grab 1 band here. Continuing on, just loom the bottom 2 bands on each of the pegs until you reach the neck. Remember that if it's too difficult to loom both bands at once, you can loom one of the double bands at a time. So this was the last one, and before we go on to the other side, I'm pushing my bands down again. Onto the left side, start at the base of the tail and loom the double bands over to the left. Then loom this single band forward. And continue to loom the double bands at the bottom of the pegs until you get to the neck. There are a lot of bands on this peg here, so I'm pushing the 3 neck bands down to isolate them so that they're easier to grab with my hook and pull forward. Reach into the peg here, grab the bottom 3 bands, and loom them forward. You can also grab them one at a time if it's easier. Make sure that you have loomed all 3 neck bands and we can start working on the face. Don't go too far ahead here because we will be adding an extra band on. Let's work on Sentimental Puppy's head now. You should have already loomed the neck bands and the ear bands. Start at the chin of our puppy, and let's loom the long double bands, starting with the left side. Loom the 2 bands so that they loop over this peg and this peg, so it has to go around 2 pegs. Now let's do the same to the right side. I am taking one of the double bands at a time this time, but make sure that it gets loomed over the middle peg and to the farther peg. I'm doing that one more time for the other double band. Make sure that it's pulled over the middle peg and loom it to the farther peg. Now we will loom these 2 sets of bands in the center forward. Remember that these bands are triple bands, so you will need to loom 3 bands here over to the peg on top. Before looming the next set, I'm pushing these down below the peg ridge to isolate them so that they're easier to grab. Then reach into the next peg in the center and loom these double bands forward. Keep in mind that we will be ignoring the eyes, so pretend like the double loop band here doesn't exist. I'm going to add on our last double loop tie band now. Place a single band on your hook and twist once so that there are 2 loops of the band. Hold on to the 2 loops and we will stretch it across our puppy's face. Now we can loom the rest of our puppy, starting with the horizontal single band at the left side. Loom it towards the puppy's face. Then, we will loom the bottom vertical double bands at the side here. The band should be the bottom 2 on the peg, and they should be stretched across these 2 pegs. Stick your hook into the peg closer to the bottom, pull back on all the other bands, grab the bottom 2, and loom them forward. Then we will loom these vertical bands here, and they should be the bottom 2 bands on this peg. Bring those 2 bands forward. Then we will do the same looming steps to the right side, so loom the single horizontal band to the face. Then, loom the bottom 2 vertical bands here. Bring those forward. Make sure you occasionally push down your bands to make room for more. Then we will loom the 2 bands that are between these pegs. So just bring those 2 bands forward. Let's loom the top of the head, starting with the double bands on the right side, and those are loomed to the center. Then do the same with the bands on the left. I'm pushing down the bands to make room for the last set of double bands. Then loom the double bands here in the center. They should be the bottom 2 bands on the peg. The last band we will loom is the single band above the head. Stick your hook into the peg and bring the single band forward. From the side, there are 2 loops of the band on this last peg. We will bring the bottom loop up and over the peg to make a slip knot. With the remaining loop on the peg, pull on it to tighten the slip knot. We will tighten the slip knot again after taking our creation off the loom. If you want to make things more secure, stick your hook into the remaining loop on the last peg. Then pull another band through. Bring it to the top, then take the loop in your hand and put it on your hook. There should be 2 loops on your hook now. Pull the loop closest to the tip of your hook, under the other loop. Pull on it to tighten the slip knot. Since our creation is fully loomed, we can take Sentimental Puppy off the loom now. I am using my hook to help me since there are so many bands on the pegs. After taking Sentimental Puppy off the loom, we have to tighten the slipknot again to make it secure. Then we will adjust some of the bands, so move the eyes around, pull out the legs, tail, and ears. You can also push out the face so that it looks more 3D from the side. Then keep adjusting Sentimental Puppy until it starts looking more like a puppy. I have placed the animal mouth accessory on our puppy off camera. To hide the slipknot, I'm sticking the slipknot loop onto the slip hook included in your kit and sticking it somewhere in our puppy. I'm just going to continue hiding the slipknot loop in our creation until it's barely visible from the outside. After hiding your slipknot and accessorizing your Sentimental Puppy, your creation is now complete. Thank you so much for watching this tutorial on how to create the Sentimental Puppy using the Rainbow Loom 360. We also have more 360 tutorials on our website, so check those out if you haven't already. I will be working on the cat tutorial next, so that will be uploaded within the next week or 2. Thank you so much for your patience during this time. The videos do take a bit of time, and for some of these designs, they don't translate very well on the written instructions. But more written instructions are on the way, so stay tuned. If you make this, please tag us at official_RainbowLoom and use the hashtag RainbowLoom so that we can see your creations on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. We also host weekly giveaways on our Instagram called our Loom Star of the Week contest, where you can win some fun prizes, so be sure to follow us there. In the description box below, you can find where to purchase your own Rainbow Loom products, including the new Rainbow Loom 360 kit. We have so many kits available, and there's honestly something for everyone. We are also selling some Rainbow Loom products on our TikTok shop, so if you're in the US, check out our store, which has some exclusive bundles and deals that you can't find anywhere else. And again, thanks for watching this tutorial and I'll see you in the next one.